My Gavanen Melonin, and well met indeed. I'm Arachir Durthang, head of the modding team behind Divide and Conquer, and welcome back to Divide and Conquer as I bring to you something that is oft requested and questioned, and that is how to get certain custom settlements in the custom battle. Now, I'm not going to go into really any detail about this, save to list off the ones that you can get and then show you how to get them. So the following custom settlements are available to you in custom battle: Helms Deep, Durthang, Rebuilt Osgiliath West, Rebuilt Osgiliath East, Rebuilt Fornost, and Minas Tirith. And to obtain these, you must do as follows. They'll be in the description, which I would encourage you to read on every video. In the description, there is timestamps for each of these settlements and how to get them. But the first thing you need to do is learn how to get any type of settlement in custom battle. And in order to do that, there are two things that you must do. First, you cannot choose any of the maps that have a cross next to them. They are custom maps that are put into the game by us, the modders. They cannot have settlements in them. All of the others can. It doesn't matter which one you do, and it makes for some interesting results. For example, having Minas Tirith in Mordor gives it the black terrain of Mordor. It's rather interesting. But for ease, I tend to always go for Bree. But it makes no odds. You can choose whichever one you want. The next thing that you have to do is select Fort from the level. You see there that there were no other options anyway, but you must choose the level before you choose the culture. Now the reason for this is because it lists then all the available cultures, and obviously there are 6 of them. However, for reasons that I have looked into and can't quite fathom, the orcs only have the ability to build a fort in the settlement levels. So if you choose your culture first, for whatever reason, it crashes the game. But what you actually need to do is choose fort, then you can select whichever culture you want, say middlemen, and then you can go back and click on any level and it doesn't matter. And you can play through and you'll get those levels. So custom settlements do work. The 6 that I've already mentioned we'll show in a moment, but also just generally towns and cities and castles, you can have battles in settlements in custom battle. It does work. I appreciate it crashes a lot, but only if you do it in the wrong order. So first you must click on fort, and then you can choose culture. It did allow me just to click village, but that's just a holdover because I'd already chosen a culture. But you must click on fort first and it will automatically select orcs, and then you can change to whoever you want and you can play in whatever level that you want for those. One final thing to mention is just that it does not matter what level of defences you choose. This has no bearing on custom settlements at all. I think it does have an effect on normal settlements, but custom-based settlements, it does nothing. If you change the period, this is a moment just where I can talk about that. If you change the period to all, it will allow your faction to train every single type of unit that faction can in the files. A good example of this is the Northern Dunedain, who of course get a range of everyone's units. So if you change the period to all, it lets you train every single type of unit that this faction can get, and yes, that even includes the Oath Breakers. So that's how to have the truly custom battle maps, where you really can play around with the rules. And now that applies to every faction all at once. There's no difference between early, high and late, none whatsoever, but there's a difference between early and all. So if you select it as just early, it's only those troops that your faction can train in a certain way, which we set in the files. There's the Northern Dunedain roster. If you set it to all, then it lets you train every single unit that nation has ownership of. There you go. So that's how to give you even more detailed attacks. But now we shall jump into the actual custom settlements, starting with Durthang. So here we have the Fortress of Durthang. Now to obtain the Fortress of Durthang, as already mentioned, you must first click on Fort, then change the culture to Northmen, and then choose Citadel, and that will give you the Castle of Durthang. And this is what Durthang looks like when set up in Bree, for example. Hopefully if everything's gone to plan, there'll be a little image in the corner as well, showing you what the setup looks like. So this is Durthang. I think, anyway, I've never actually played at Durthang. That's why I thought I'd do this one first to get it out of the way, because I'm not actually 100% sure that this is Durthang. But I'm fairly convinced it is. So anyway, you get this settlement if you do Northmen and Citadel. So next we shall move on to Helms Deep. Welcome then to Helms Deep, or the Great Fortress of the Hornburg and the Deeping Wall. This, first of all, as ever, you need to go to Fort, then you need to choose the Dwarven culture, and then again choose Citadel. So that is how you get Helms Deep, and you can have any custom battle setup that you like, and you get Helms Deep. There it is, a perfect picture of it there. So that's Helms Deep, that's Dwarves and Citadel. Quite an enjoyable little map. Next we shall move on to Minas Tirith, another one often asked for. Minas Tirith, City of Kings. And here, in an interesting twist, if I can just get the camera to play ball, there's a giant river in the way, because we are, I think, in Anorian or somewhere like that, I can't remember. But anyway, this is Minas Tirith, and so to get Minas Tirith, you need to click on Fort, then change the culture to Dwarven, and then choose Huge City, and that will give you Minas Tirith. In all of its absolutely wonderful splendour, with the square right at the top next to the dying ruins of the White Tree. But a fantastic battle map, and good fun can be had on that one. So that's Minas Tirith. So that only leaves us with 3 more, and we shall start with the rebuilt Osgiliath West. Welcome to Osgiliath, the old and former capital of Gondor. And so to play on the rebuilt version of Osgiliath West, one must select Fort first, change the culture to Gondor, and then choose Citadel, and you'll get West. You will know that it is West because the Dome of the Stars, which is this large building over here where the bridge passes by, is kind of on the eastern bank in truth, isn't it? It's way closer to the east than it is to the west, so that's how you know you've got the western one. Also, this domed building here and the amphitheatre are both unique to the western side, and the square is next to this peculiar gated fortress area that looks really cool but serves no purpose. So this is Osgiliath West. There is not a ruined version of Osgiliath West, I'm afraid, or East. There's only the rebuilt versions. And speaking of rebuilt Osgiliath East, let's go and have a look at that next. But for West, it's Gondor and then Citadel. Welcome to Osgiliath East. As I say, you know that you're on the eastern side because the Dome of the Stars is nearer where you start, and your square is in front of this sort of palacey looking town hall kind of building. And this is the eastern side. You also have this small canal that runs on the eastern side as well. To get rebuilt Osgiliath East, one must click on Fort first, change the culture to Gondor, and then change the level to Huge City, and then you get rebuilt Osgiliath East. Leaving only one left, which is rebuilt Fornost, and we'll head over and jump and have a look at that one now. Oh, no, there's some pumpkins. And lastly, welcome to the city of Fornost, rebuilt in the splendour of the days of Arnor. This can be yours for the low price of free if you choose, first of all, Fort, then change the culture to Gondor, and then change the level to Fortress, and that will give you rebuilt Fornost, which is a fantastic battle map that RK created. And it just looks wonderful, doesn't it? It looks absolutely wonderful. But that is it, I am afraid. So the custom settlements, just to recap, that are available to you. Rebuilt Fornost, rebuilt Osgiliath West, rebuilt Osgiliath East, Helms Deep, Minas Tirith, and Durthang. Now, there are obviously many different options that you can choose between the culture and the tier. There's a lot of combinations of culture and tier. But, unfortunately, Middlemen, Men of the East, and Gondor all have the same settlements in custom battle, and I'm not really sure why. So there's actually only really 3 cultures that you can actually test. And for all of the other tiers, town, large town, city, large city, keep, and castle, and stronghold, for all of the other tiers, those custom settlements are just the usual ones that you get in battle. None of them are custom or unique. So these are the only, I think it's 6, isn't it? These are the only 6 custom settlements. But Helms Deep and Minas Tirith are the most requested. And every single time I roll my eyes when people ask why they're not in the mod, because they are in the mod. This, you can find them by trial or an error, or indeed watching this video. So that's all for this one. So thank you very much for watching. And until we speak again, dear friends, Nevar Neden Perimad Melunin, and farewell.